Good afternoon from Yummy B TV. Wishing you all well, sending loads of love to you as usual. Firstly, we start off on a sad note, I'm afraid. Victor B and your lovely missus sending special love to you down there. Let me know, keep me posted on what's going on, Victor. We love you very dearly on my channel. You've been there for a good 2 or 3 years since the beginning of time with me, like many others that have never given up on Uncle Yummy. And Uncle Yummy will have you and got you to the day I die. Also, Trace the Face, my darling baby, is going through exactly what you went through, Victor, right at this moment in time. Sad time for me around certain things. If you get what I mean, it puts certain things into perspective. But Trace the Face, I'll be coming to see you shortly, baby. I love you dearly. Big love to your family as well. Now, like they would want me to, we go into martial arts, boxing inside a prison environment. And I'm going to go back because I've got to do things in sequence. You know, when I do things, especially when I'm in this kind of form, I got to remember how it all started for me. Then I put all the other figures in to the equation with what I had to learn, what I didn't learn, and I didn't hear. Some you don't hear, you got to feel because you think you're good at everything already, Yummy. You was, but like many people will testify, you have to keep doing it and practicing it to make sure you refine your art. As we know, the old adage, it's not what you know, no, not what you know, sorry. She said all about the work you put in the training camp. Well said the other day, the big man. Now listen, I look back, right? So when I look back to Aylesbury, I look at those early boxing figures, Delroy Matthews, etc., right? When you see the differences in people that can use their hands, right? But me, being me, I was always a bit hard-headed because I knew that I was quick. Because you got to remember the beginning of time, right? Stamford House, Mr. Simons, when Chris Eubank was there. St. Thomas More, Brian, you remember when we used to go Sturroton, Dave Rawson, Tyrone Hardy. He got there before me, Tyrone. He left by the time I got there. Lips used to go in there as well. Those takes to the boxing gym down there. Lennox used to go as well. I was the smallest, but he always used to say to me, you got a style, you know, but you're just a little bit too small right now. But you, with the way that your hands and everything, without even really, sorry. When I was a kid, I used to go to Four Feathers and All Stars on Harrow Road, Four Feathers down by Lisson Green. And I used to go in there and play about, but I only used to know what I knew by watching the telly. So I was always a visionary person. Some of us are better when we put it into practice and do it every day. Some of us can look at stuff like the actors we know, and you know, I copied a lot of them over the years. But I used to look at certain of the boxers and see the way Duran done it, Leonard done it, and all of that, and I used to just fancy it and just copy it out when I used to go in there, but without the training. So I was already told when I was little, you got something there, little boy. And everybody else was bigger than me at that time. But I was always a comedian, a joker. I never took it that seriously. I just knew that certain days, even when I was smaller, I was in detention centre. We was in the queue lining up for the bathhouse, right? Ilya Pereira, Ben Simmons, Victor Egbonwan, Byfield, a geezer called Eastwood from thing, and Osinoa and all that. I've gone through the DC thing already. I was in the queue, and the geezer was starting on me, but I was the smallest there. But I just went rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. They couldn't believe it all. They were all bigger than me, my lot. My friends who I was making friends with at that time. They said to me, fucking hell, Yummy, you're quick. You know, like that. When I went to Aylesbury, remember, I told you there was a few occasions when I was out and learning, when I was thinking, I've seen the way they do it, the bad man thing. I'm going to throw mine in too. On certain time, but the only thing is, I used to cheat in the beginning. I used to make sure that I could throw mine out in the open, in the dinner queue, in the toilets, in the showers, quick, without letting them get too much. And they wouldn't get a punch in. They would get stopped. I'd get away lightly. But then I realised that when you're going to do your fighting in prison, sometimes when they say, listen, let's just go to the recess, no one there, start from scratch, boom, 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 boom. Don't think I was actually ready for that at that time because I didn't know what I'd be facing. But like I told you, a lot of those, the heavy ones that could fight at that time, they saw right through me. They knew that I was stubborn. They know that I've got something in my head that tells me, yeah, whatever, I'll turn up. You know what I mean? But the earliest memory when I went in with a geezer from Brixton, right? He's saying, Yami, you're too small for me. I said, yeah, what are you two chatting? I'll come in there. So I went in there. He's massive, mate. I went in there, but he folded me up and he kept putting me on the floor. Yami, I don't want to fight you. And then Tony Leon's come in there, right? He says, yeah, what, you think you could do that to me? But yeah, I used to argue back with Tony Leon. Just say, Yami, Sammy, behave yourself. You know, I was mouthy. I still believed that I could beat all the big ones. You couldn't, Sammy, not then, right? But Wayne, my man from Brixton, you didn't want to know. Tony Leon's was proper stuff. And Delray Matthews, they were always there. And they could do that thing already. A lot of them, I've told you this anyway. Moving on, right? When I got started up and I went to Wandsworth, right? Tony Puxley, Martin Stevens, Frank Rudd, Freddie Foreman's right-hand man was there at that time. Johnny Reid was there, Roy Hilder. We'd gone through that. Builder Bomb was there. You remember, I told you, I was a kid. Mickey Gluckstead. Bill had a fight in the dinner queue. I told you with the tray. Thing they tried to pick up a tray to build a bomb. He was straight out. All I did was listen to what them lot told me about Build a Bomb. That was before I ever spoke to him. I told you this already. This was the middle 80s, right? Now, at that time, me and Frank Rudd had to bang up as well, right? He's proper stuff, you know, Frank Rudd. Good geezer, mate. And Joey Olive, mate. Yeah, he's good geezer, tall, like slim, athletic. I think he had a dad who was a bit of a gangster or something. I can't remember his name, right? But Joey Olive was good stuff, mate. Very, very fit. And he used to say to me, when I first started lifting and that, this is, oh no, twice I met him along the way. But he was also there at this time as well, right? But anyway, I'm going to say with Frank Rudd. Because, you know, I still fancy that I could remember. I've had a couple of start-up fights in Wandsworth in front of the heavy mob, and they're going, oh, fucking hell, he's fucking naturally strong, right? Del Croxton was there. I told you that. So me and Frank Rudd banged up after I was in the 4-up with those other geezers, right? And he's got the pads originally were made out of socks, prison socks, with books. So your knuckles are going to get really hard. You know, at first they hit, they're hurting. You go like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But as usual, I'm doing my little fancy stuff. We know I had a couple of big fights in the early years where I was actually winning and started doing all that and got caught. And then them lot joined in. I'll tell you about it one day, man. I saved the best till last. But anyway, right? So he's in the cell. He's going, Yami, hold them for me. I'm sure they used to use... because the bed mattresses have changed now. In the old days, it was the black ones that would set fire, fireproof or something, but it still puts up the black thing, the sponge, and they put them in there as well. Fix them up, tape them all up. Me and Frank Rudd, he was in it. Frank had a big bang, you know. He was strong. Del Croxton was next door, right? So either in the afternoon or evenings, if it was just me and Frank, Del Croxton would come in. He said, babyface, come on, I'll do it, right? And then, all right, goes to Del Croxton first. Del Croxton put money, goes, listen, do that. But I always used to go with the southpaw stance, straight away, always. But I knew that I could bowl with my left and use the tennis bat with both hands and that kind of stuff. So I knew that my hands were about the same. But I always thought, no, I wrote with my right hand. That was the only difference. I couldn't write with my left. But everything else I could do with both hands, right? So they used to say to me, Yami, you got it naturally that way. And remember, they're bigger boys for me then. So I used to have to hold them. When I hold, because Del Croxton used to say to me, look, you do yours, see how I do it, and then, because remember, I didn't know how to hold the pads or nothing like that. Remember, these are not proper pads at this time. But this is the kind of thing, how it worked in prison, right? In the early stages when I was seeing it. Because them lot just all want to fight all day and use the pads. Martin Stevens and Tony Puxley, they were at it all night in their 4-up next door, right? So, Del Croxton's holding them, right? He's showing me, Yami, right hand, uppercut, do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because you know, like, that's just a quick one. And then he looks over and get excited. Del Croxton said straight away, Yami, no, you've got to go orthodox left. I goes, yeah, but I prefer to come with my right, the right leg. I sort of like the jab. He's saying, no. He said, do both. If you come unstuck, I never had the thinking skills for the long fight. I didn't. This is why I turned into the assassin in that way, because I thought it takes too long, man, to fight with these certain people. It's going to go on ages. They're going to figure out you're going to have to stay in there, right? So I learned this early on, but I knew that I had like that quick flurry and if it could work sometimes, but it's not going to work all the time, is it? Because some people are going to take them and they're going to come back into it anyway. So I was doing that, but when I was holding them for Del Croxton, he was just going, I was thinking, fucking effing hell, his hands are heavy. You remember this guy's about a giant, you know, Frank Rudd as well. He said, yeah, do that. So those were my early stages of learning, right? Fact. So move along a little bit further down the line. Now I've done the little apprenticeship. They tested me out on the island to try and fight me when I was a little kid after the Queen's Pardon. We'd gone through that. Then I reached down there in Sutton, Surrey, who's on the landing. Jimmy Huzzy, Sydney Hussein, Dave Eisler, Louis Warner. The first kind of martial art, apart from Build-A-Bomb with the boxing, right? Louis Warner, I believe, got out of a van with Grumpy from South London. They were on escort, allegedly, right? And they got out, right? Years after, I saw Louis Warner the first time. So I was with Louis Warner before that alleged escape happened, right? But I already knew about him. So when I met Louis Warner, he was on a run somewhere in Spain or whatever. Even then, he's got kind of stocky, a bit taller, about 5'11" or something, but built well and glazy eyes, goatee beard, right? Longish hair, curved back. It's proper stuff, right? So we're all on the landing. Jimmy Huzzy's there as well, right? Jimmy Huzzy said, oh, don't worry about all that. You got to get a pound, no. You remember I used to tell you. But Louis Warner, he's the first man that I saw take classes. There was Richie Hutchinson. I think even Nasty was around at that time from Hackney. Hold on, it was a lot of people there. Russell Christie was there, Linford Christie's brother as well, rest in peace. Right, he was there around about that time as well. But anyway, Louis Warner used to say, yeah, come at me with this, come at it. Yeah, use a plastic knife, yeah, come at me. You know, you go like that, because you're not really going to do anything with a knife, are you? I'm thinking, your head's hard. You go like that with a knife. Tony Malcolm was there as well. So you go like that with a knife and he's going to do all that, right? But, when you're a kid, you want to learn, well, some of us do, right? I thought I knew already. You didn't, Sammy. Because you could do all your little things, and Mr. Simons told you in Stamford House, he's got a good style, when he was in St. Thomas More. You're thinking, you're buying, you're thinking, but you ain't a natural, you know what I mean? You never went into it like you did with football and all that. But they told you when you was younger. Yeah, they did, right? So Louis Warner's on he's saying, yeah, come on, teacher, this and that. So he's taken Richie, two others, right? I'll try and remember their names anyway, don't matter. So he's brought me, he goes into the TV room, right? And he's showing them moves. Come at me that way, come at me that. So he's the first geezer I saw do the martial arts and he used to do that springy thing and think he's funny as well, Louis, right? Proper stuff, big legs and everything, man. He's a strong man naturally. Didn't even really go to the gym. You know why? I think they'd done all their training already before they met me. I was just starting my physical training with the weights and all that, the powerlifting, right about that time. But he was a man to be feared and reckoned with. And many out there will say, Yami, bang on the money again, Louis Warner, right? So during that night, 89, 90 bit, when I got that, what I told you about with the story, he was the first man for that. So when I got to the Isle of Wight, second time round, right? Richie Donovan, Cliff Airy, it was Delroy Matthews was there again. Won a big fight there. But many fighters were around at that time. Jamie Lawrence, the footballer, was around at that time as well in there. And he used to like doing the pads as well. Jamie was a proper all-round sportsman, but he used to get off on all. I think Trevor Bristol was down there. Who else was it? Bobby Parker. Yeah, Bobby Parker. Yeah, because Wayland used to go into a little room, blah, 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 blah. And I forgot the other day, the first time, the only time I was in Vic Dark's presence, he said the same thing to me. Right? He said the same thing to me. I come out in the morning. I got a feeling. Was it the B's or the A's? I can't remember. The early bits. Bigger man for me, remember? Everyone turned up in the recess. In the morning, there was this old geezer. I forgot his name, man. There's another geezer called Colin Nicholson. Might be the son. He's got glasses. Me and Sean Ingleton, he's from Bermondsey or somewhere. Same place as Murray and Danny Kelly, right? Sean Ingleton, you could have right, big Sean, right? He's funny as well, gassed, right? But he's heavy-handed. He's big, too big for me. So I started reading him with sparring, but he's too big for me. And I started to get things. He started to back me up a little bit. But Colin Nicholson jumped into the thing. He says, oi, he's lighter than you, and started to give it to him. But yet he was a bit smaller than Sean. Sean was going like that to him, to Colin. But I was thinking, fucking hell, Yami, you think you're something. You're not quite ready yet. You're not that way. You're good with the weapons and all that. Yes, fair enough. But with the fists, you need to learn a little bit more, mate. Right? So, vicdark, right? I swear, I don't know if he remembers, right? But I know I saw him early. Now, especially now my head, brain's clear, right? vicdark, the first time, that old man, sorry, I think, what jail, it's either Swell Side or I can't remember if it's the Isle of Wight or Swell Side, the first takes in my life, right? But in the changing room in the morning, 8:30, everyone, in it, Steve Grafton, everyone used to go in there in the morning for the pads and thing and skipping in the shower room, in the changing room, not in the gym. Everyone used to be able to put. There was an old geezer, you know his name. He's related to Tony Colson, right? Tony Colton, Peter Colson from East London. He was another one. He was short and everything. He's funny. That's where I heard the Jungle Book first from as well. Tony used to tell me that as well about him. But he was heavy, mate, with his hands and all that, mate. And he was only about my size, but he was as game as they come. Now watch this. In the changing room, I've gone with this old geezer first, right? Who takes everyone. He's a good geezer. Elton Ishmael's in there, them days. I think Buster's in there. No, there's a few people in there. But he's got me on the pads because I'm watching everyone, right? I said, yeah, I come in because I started to believe that I was getting big, I was strong, I had a big deadlift, the weights, my chest was out like that, the ponytail was swinging, right? So when I walked in there, I went, bang, every single punch I threw was a haymaker, right? It was a haymaker. This is him. Yeah, mate, yeah, leave it. Because he was trying to tell me, no, you don't hit the pads like that. That's not how you do it. But I weren't listening, right? And then Vicky Dark was around. So I come with that same thing, the southpaw. I said, no. He just moved my hands around like that, moved it to the left. He moved to the left and said, no. It's not like that, right? He goes, jab with that, do with that. Start from the basics, right? So he's going, yeah, Sammy. And I go, crack. He goes, slow down. 1, 2. 1, 2. And then this is what happened, right? Listen to this one. It just happened to me a lot over the years when I first started doing the pads and things in different places, right? Because you just want to be part of it when you're ready, right? Especially during this time. The first time I got, when your hands drop, you can go like that, look, crack in your ear roll. Keep your hands up. And it hurts. And you think, oh man, do you hitting like that, right? But anyway, I only spent, that was a 2-week period. So I can't really say that I spent a lot of time in vicdark. But I did in the early kiddie stages. But I didn't see him again after that. I'm glad you not reminded me in the messenger the other day. But you did, Yami, because you was in there with him. Listen, after that, right, when Jason Draper from Basildon, I'm not sure, I think he used to hang around with Jason Vella. I can't match the both of them. I can't see how you lot can say to me Jason Vella is anything for Jason Draper. I've got to be honest with you. Jason Draper's got blonde hair, slim, good looking geezer. He used to take everyone on the pads. The geezer was magic, mate. You know what I mean? He was proper stuff, but his laugh, he's got good character, right? He used to take me, he'd say, yeah, I mean, come on. He goes, you're right, you're average. That's what he used to say to me. And he used to do that ting, 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 right? When we used to play about, right, Lucky and Dewey and all that, the Manchester lot were around, but they were good with their hands, some of them. Some of them were about the same as me. It's going to be a good row. So, but you know Uncle Yami, with the brute strength, I'm thinking, I ain't going to mess. When we play fighting, I used to always go for the wrestle, because I know that I'm going to get you down. Jay Draper used to say to me, yeah, you're wrestling with me, mate. Come on, Yami, put him up. I said, no. Put him up, he's too good for me, right? There was, what's his name? A couple of Manchester lot as well. I used to go in there, I said, no, I'm not on no fist thing. I'm some wrestling thing because I know that I can get you down. What am I going to be standing up there doing all that with you for if I know I can get you down that way? And I know it's going to be a close run thing with a fist. I'm not staying in this too long sometimes, man. I like to get the job done, even if it's messing about, right? Many can testify to that. And I'll tell you what he said to me. Hold on. Oh, let me do this in sequence. Jay Draper, heavy. Proper stuff, mate. One time a geezer played about with him. He had some downtime in there, and he thought Jason was just sweet looking and da-da-da-da. He was big, but the argument happened. Jay had the ump. He gave him about a 6 combination. You was knocked out, mate. I don't even want to bring that on you, but I knew that would happen. His fists are too fast like that, and he's had good geezer, but he's like everything else. If you test me, you're going down. And that many people know that Jason Draper could have it. Yeah, he could, right? But he's a good geezer, he's sweet, and he used to take everyone on the pads. Barry Williams is another one, right? Jason Draper used to do it to me as well. When I should drop my hands, I just go pinging my ear rolls, right? I think there's a geezer from Manchester. He done a little bit of time in the lower cats, Bobby Jervis, something like that. But he could do martial arts and boxing. Manchester, I didn't see a lot of him, right? But they talked about him. And he used to take everyone training. Because a lot of geezers come in there, they can't fight at first. But they're not like me running around the wings and getting involved. They said, I'm going to keep my nut down. I'm not going to take no drugs. I'm going to do my bird, but I'm going to learn how to fight. Because they want to learn. Because they realise, a lot of men that I realise over the years, they learned how to fight early. There's a lot of men that can have a row, mate. And Uncle Yammy's thinking, I don't really need the row that much. I've got the weapons, but we know that I've got the gift of the gab. You know that in the jungle, we know that I was king. They would always vouch for that. They knew that I was on the front page no matter what. But anyway, Jason Draper and Barry Williams, right? He's another one that Barry's a liberty taker, but I loved him though. But he used to go like that. When my hands used to drop, they're going to clap you in your ear. And it hurts, man. Stop it. Ray Francis, cage fighter from Bermondsey and that as well. That's the dreadlock I was telling you about. His name is Ray Francis. Big lump, mate, 80, 90 stone. One day, after about 6 weeks of doing the pads with all of them, right? Imagine being in that room. You got Tony Argent, right? Tony, when he hits the bag. And remember, he's light then, you know. He's light, remember, because he trains too hard. He does about 4 hours training a day in the cats. You lot were saying, yeah, but he said he took this and that. That was in the C cats, in the A cats. He never took no drugs or nothing, mate. No, he never. He used to train and run around the yard all day. He's 2 high plays, energy's high, like mine. Lunatic, mate. But he used to hit the bag. It used to be loud. The only one that made the rhythm, the echoes of the pads, Andy Shack lady. I knew the difference, right? Sometimes mine's rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat, and you know the difference. Slaying is boof, boof, boof. But when Andy Shack used to go like that, choo, 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 the echo from the pads, a bit more different. You know, you hear the sound and you think, but you're not even putting a lot into them. Not the way that it looks to me. They're more expert than me with that. But I'm telling you, Andy Shack's power is different, is a different gravy, if you want the truth, like Tony Argent's. It's a different thing, man. We was all in there one day. Kevin Lane, Kevin was going rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Kevin's a stylist. I remember I was in the centre. I'd done it for about 6 weeks straight. Ray Francis was like that. He said, you see, when you're clean, and he'd do it. Because I remember them looking round at me. Everybody was in that room in the Ca's, right? They was all in there. And I was just so, maybe I think it was me and Barry Williams, you know. I was going rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Barry knows how to do it to make me look good. Because Barry's more thinking about, them lot over there, they're looking, they got the gear and yeah, I mean, do that. I'll make it look good because you know that some people can't really fight. They're good with weapons. They throw the fat over you, that kind of stuff. But when they see you throw the punches, they know they can't do that because they're not sporting. They weren't brought up the way we was from the beginning of time to be able to play football. Some, you know, the school of excellence from all the institutions, you know, you'd have had to have learned how to do loads of sports, right? That Tyron Arney, that Johnny James, right? Peter Clark, a big geezer from Liverpool. But the way that he used to use the pads, Itchy as well, right? Itchy's an all-round sportsman. But Peter Clark, when he used to do the pads, for his size and all that, and the bag, I was thinking, effing hell, his legs were like tree trunks as well. But I was thinking, you ain't getting much when you go there. Trust me, Manny's going to tell you that straight one day. It's a real problem, mate. And fit too. Always up early in the morning, like many of those men who are regimental, like Tony Argent and all them lot that I've talked about just now. They get up at the crack of dawn and they're on it. John Gray, all of them, right? So I used to hate getting claps around my ears, right? Jason Draper was smart. He used to always do that to me. But then he used to say to me, Yami, do you know when you touch me with your hands, on my body, on the stomach. He goes, you know, you are very, very powerful. And I learned that. They used to tell me that. Because I should just do that. But yet, Terry Dunstan, right? Terry Dunstan, I believe, was a boxer. I believe he boxed for a certain championship. I can't remember which, right? But I spent a little time with him. When he used to come into the room, his thing looks, because he's not massive with loads of weight. He was like long and fit looking, right? They were fucking about him at that time. But Terry, I used to want to try and go in there, and he used to go out, Yummy, stop it. Can't, it's too small, Yummy. It's too small, what are you talking about? Come on, man. And he used to touch my stomach just like that. The same thing I used to do to the kids later on in life, he used to do to me, and it used to wind me. I used to go, my God, what's he got in his bloody hands? You see him on the pads. But then I looked at, I'm saying it, I looked at all of them around me, but then I looked at Terry Dunstan. I thought, I don't mention him a lot because, you know, I forget things. But I said, you ain't going to beat Terry Dunstan. Because all he does is tap it. That Ray Francis, another one. Some deep, deep territory in them places, right? What was I going to say? Move on to the long line, because I'm zooming through everything today. You know, I'm so happy at the moment. A bit sad with certain things as well. But one time, this kid's from Wolverhampton, right? You know, they used to use the cooking gloves. The cooking gloves, the oven gloves, as pads, all the boxing things when they went on gloves on the wing. A couple of travellers, a couple of other people used to go in a room and everybody used to start sparring. I used to think, Gordon Bennett, I ain't doing that. One time, a big name, he could fight, he normally beats up everyone. This Wolverhampton, he was a young kid, but he was built like that. He went like that, he caught him with the first punch of the fight. The other fella swung round and he started swinging at the wall. I went, oh God, let's not mention that again. You know what I mean? But this geezer, he knew his stuff. Wolverhampton, white fellas, young though, this is about 2000 and something. This is like much later. But then they started doing all that fighting stuff in thing. But anyway, the other thing with vicdark, they used to say to me, yeah, I mean, vicdark with the holds and the things. Proper stuff, mate. Proper stuff. I heard, because you know when I used to get wrapped up, I used to play football, basketball, badminton, tennis, football, everything, right? Weights, lift heavy, circuit, jump, 1,000 reps in 30 odd minutes, burpees, touch-up stars, but all at full pell. I said, I want to match all of you up. Sportingly, man. Behave yourself with me. Not when I'm on top form. Move yourself with me. Not when you're coming with the jumps and hanging in the air and all that. Go away. No way. No way. No way, Jose. Yeah? Many would testify to that. But, what was I going to say? The joints. When you're getting wrapped up sometimes, right? It used to hurt me, man, because I got injuries in my wrist where something happened years ago with the police, where I was smashing, and I was hitting all the walls and everything. So all the joints, when you bend me up, I go, I picked up. When I used to go to him, they just couldn't get him. It used to be difficult. They used to say to me, Yummy, vicdark is a different kettle of fish, mate. He's different. When he used to come, he used to take people into the wrestling room. That's what I heard. I went round, he was somewhere else, the next cat at that time, but when they were coming back and forth, they were saying to me, Yummy, just going there. When he comes in, he's playing, he's out of breath. I learned something, very, very young, right? I thought, yeah, all I've got to do is land that big right hand or left hand, and it could be curtains, because it worked for me sometimes, right? But a little geezer called me in a room once. He said, Yummy, go on and do that. Do it all, get serious, swing. I'm not going to do nothing to you. I went for him. I started throwing all big bombs. I tried to get inside to wrestle him because I used to be good in the wrestle. We know that. Get inside, close back, strength, fold you up. But I tried to get into this little geezer. He was too small. Every move he made me look like an absolute mug. I felt to cry. Because I mean, yeah, he's doing all that funny stuff. So that I couldn't get, I don't know what was happening. He took the energy away from me, right? I learned the hard way. When I left the cell, I thought, yeah, I mean, you're not all that at all. I thought, good. You never do that to me again, mate. I know exactly what you've done to me that day. My days. What a learning curve along that way. You realise I can't do that bit now. You're short there. You're short this bit. You're short there. But if you'd have listened when you was younger, you would have learned quicker, Yummy. You're learning as time goes on, but you had all those things already. But if you don't do them and don't work out the tricks of the trade, because energy is a lot to do with it, that man that stays calm and focused through everything. I saw a man, he didn't really fight. He looked weighty, he looked fat and everything. A man, a big name, he threw about 8, 10, 20 punches at him. He just went like that. He goes, listen, I don't want to do anything to you. You didn't land a punch on him. Some men, Build a Bob was like that. Build a Bob and laugh at you. Swear for a heavyweight. Nah, mate. I know what I'm talking about, mate. So I've gone through that. There was a geezer from Ninja, from Croydon as well. Wrap you up quick. Get on the holds. But in reality, for the martial arts, Uncle Yummy says to you that Kim Farrier from Croydon, and I told you, those from Bermondsey, those from this bit, those from that bit, I already know that you could knock out everyone, all of you. You could do good on the floor as well. But with Kim, when it comes to rolling around on the floor, you ain't gonna win there. He can make you look like you're on top of him. And I saw too much, and I saw in my eyes, but it's not for me to say, because I'm not doing that up here. Some of the big names you talk about from the fighting world. Kim on the floor is mustard. Light work for him. Facts, right? When I moved on to the C-Cat stage, right? When I got to there, I realised all the youngsters were fighting now. But this time, obviously, this is recent times when I told you what happened on that last thing, right? So when I said, right, I was there, they're doing all the pads now. They're doing all their wrestling. On the floor, all of them from all sides of town. Like, there's some good youngsters, mate. There's a geezer called Junior from East or North. I can't remember, but he's real. He's built like a tank, but he can run, thing and everything. You ain't going through there. But you try, with Kim, you can, you know what I mean? With the wrestling anyway, but you still, it's a difficult one. But you're younger. But Kim still, no, it wasn't that. But the rest of them youngsters, they used to go into the shower rooms, spar with each other and all that, and they just come and say, Uncle Yummy. But now I knew how to hold them. I knew, there was a couple of good youngsters in there that were good, and I used to rate them pretty high, right? It's some fallouts along the way, as we know there always is. I rated a couple of them, I took them on the pads. I said, yeah, you're good, But one time, like I always told you, when I was weak and I'm smoking and doing that kind of shit, they might underestimate me, but then there's other times. You might be good with your fist. I used to walk past some of them, and these are big kids, and I used to go like that. And grab them up and bring them close to forward, backwards, and you're heavier than me. And I used to squeeze you, and your face used to look at me in absolute shock. And you used to say, Yummy, I've got to get you smoking again. I can't do it. It's a different kind, because when it's all running through your loins and the back and all that. I'm telling you, don't play about Uncle Yummy. I was, yeah. He said, I told you that was one of them young ones. I said to him, but you can beat me. He'll beat me in a fisty. Remember, I'm 50. I'm 50. No, how old was I then? About 49 or 40 something. He's 20 something. He's winning all his fights. But we fell out over that other geezer when that hit was out of me. But I said to him, listen, when I got well, I looked at him. Yeah, you can do all that. I said, I'll challenge you to come out there on the yard in front of everyone, and I will have a straight in with you. He went like that to me. Yummy, nah. I'll tell you why. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to win. Because I've seen you. I've seen different yous. And I'm telling you, you could cause an upset. If I beat you, they're just going to say, I beat up an old man. Because if you beat me, get lucky, because you are heavy-handed. If you hit the right spot, I could go. And he said to me, if you beat me, my career's over. They'll never believe me again. He goes, so Uncle Yummy, I'm not on no old man thing. Leave me alone. Swear down. That's what he said. But anyway, cool. 30 minutes of absolute mayhem. Soon come, live tonight. Get ready. I'm riding. Loads and loads of love to you all.